Hey guys, next episode. I just finished the previous video, so for me it is like 2 minutes later. For you it's probably few days or few weeks maybe, I don't know. So anyways, in the previous episode we finished with the steering rack, the sway bar. Before that we finished with the front suspension, the rear suspension, the diff is installed, and the axles are just held by 2 bolts or 3 bolts here, because we still need to pull them out and replace our boot here and install a new one there, because we don't have we don't have those. But that's not on our way to start working on the brakes in this episode. So we can assemble our rear brakes. We have new cylinders for here, we can install those, new springs I believe, and everything that we need. And then later, when we need to remove the axle, the brakes are not on our way. We can always reach from through these holes, remove these nuts and pull out the axle without taking the brakes apart. So that's okay. And then we can start running our brake lines here, the front brake lines, the rear brake lines and everything, and maybe our fuel line, I don't know. Over there we have some tubing. I have to see if we have the right size. I don't even remember what tubing we need to use for the fuel lines, so we're gonna figure this out. And yeah, so this episode is gonna be about brakes. Okay, it's pretty tight here, guys. Somehow I need to be able to work so you can actually see what I'm doing, because if I don't work, you can't see anything. So somehow we have to work together here as a team. So Triumph is the only car that I've ever seen with just single direction wheel cylinder. So it goes like this. The regular wheel cylinders that I've seen have 2 pistons inside, and when brake fluid comes, just pushes them apart and they push on the shoes and the braking is happening. But so in that case, the cylinder is stationary. It's just mounted with 2 bolts from behind, and the 2 pistons expand and collapse. Where here, there's only 1 piston, and for this reason, the whole cylinder needs to move, because when this expands, it's gonna push only on 1 brake shoe. So we need to allow it to slide, so it spreads equally the force that the brake fluid inside creates, and pushes also on the other brake pad, not only on this one. So for this reason, we have to make it slide. So the cylinder comes without any mounting hardware. So that's why we have to buy this fitting kit, which has a boot mounting brackets from behind. So there are 3 different types. So we're gonna get 1 of each, 1 and 1 and 1 for this wheel. And let's practice here. We need to be in this direction for this wheel. This is rear right wheel, because that's how it goes. And then from behind, we're gonna have to slide first this one. According to the manual, it says slide it from front to the back, like this. So this is the plate. Then we have this little one that goes in the same direction, like this. And then the third one is this one, which goes in between them. See? In between those. And when you push it all the way in, it clicks, and these 2 teeth click here, and then it's not coming out anymore. And then the cylinder is able to slide. So I don't want to push it in, because then I'm gonna have trouble disassembling it. So I'm gonna take it apart. Also in the pack there's grease that comes with the cylinder, and of course this is for here so it can slide easily. So we're gonna put some here as well. That's the part I don't like about the brakes, of Triumph brakes, because the wheel cylinder needs to slide, and when it's rusty, when the plate is rusty, I'm not really happy about it. Didn't we have it in like multiple times already? We did, didn't we? Why can't it go now? There you go. So now it flies. So now I'm gonna take it to the back so you can see in action what I'm doing. Okay, I hope it is bright enough for you, but not too bright and it doesn't blind you. So like we said, the one with the teeth goes first from front to back. The little one with the other teeth again from front to back, all the way as far as it can go. And then this one, the straight one, goes between them. And now we can tap it in with a little hammer. It's easier said than done. Okay, and then we're gonna hold here at the back with another hammer so it doesn't move on us. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, I think it is there. No, it didn't click. It's there, but it didn't click. So now it clicked. So now the teeth are in. That's it. Let's see if it slides. Yeah. So you know what, guys? I made a mistake, and I always make that mistake. First, the brake lever. First the brake lever and then the cylinder, because this tab needs to end up in this groove over there, but now it can't. It needs to go before, and I always make that mistake. I'm sorry, I have to take the wheel cylinder out, but you get the idea, right? So brake lever first and then the cylinder. Well, I guess that's an opportunity to see how easy it is to remove it. So now we have to lift it up and pull at the same time. And that's not very easy because I can see the teeth are still grabbing here, so. Okay, I can shove a screwdriver between, like this, between the two plates. That won't work. Okay, now that we are off the teeth, I can remove the screwdriver and tap it out. Scratching the paint all over. Okay, so now I think it is loose enough that we can put the lever. It's been painted already, so let's try and install it. Okay, so that's how it goes. Every time I forget to put it on, and then I have to undo it, and then I do it like this. Every time I'm like, I'm pretty sure I could have done that without removing the plate from behind. Oh my god, we scratched it all over the place. I've never seen a TR6 that I'm taking apart and to have this boot still there. Never ever. Now switch paint. Well, anyways, we're done at the back. Let's move to the other side. All right, so here, these brake shoes that I got are handed. There's one with a hole here for the e-brake lever, and the other one doesn't have any holes. But that's a first for me actually, because before all 4 brake shoes that were coming in a set were always with holes. So in this case, the one that goes on the e-brake is always, of course, this way, but the other side would be the exact same. I think it should come with the hole down. Should come with the hole down. So this little hole here for the keeper matches, because if you do both with the hole up, then this hole is not gonna match. You see, there's this notch here, and the hole is above the notch, and on this side the hole is below the notch. So they are not on a horizontal plane. One is higher, one is lower. So that's how it goes on the lever. So then it can be operated by the cylinder. The cylinder can push it in and out, but also you can operate it with the e-brake lever. So that's quite smart. Anyways, that's for later, because now first we're gonna have to install our adjuster underneath. Well, I didn't order new brake adjusters because even though that's what they look like, it's easy to take them apart and clean them and reuse them. There's nothing inside that can break. There's no seals like on the cylinders or stuff. It's just mechanical part. But let me show you how it works and what it does. We need a brake adjuster at the bottom, because when our brake pads are new, then we need to be able to squeeze the brake shoes more so we can put our drum and the brakes still work. But as the brake pads get worn, now they have to expand more from the brake cylinder up there, and now the brake pads start getting worn only at the top, and at some point only half of our brakes work. Here in this end they don't even touch anymore. That's why as the brake pads get worn, we need to go behind the wheel and tighten this screw a little bit, and that opens a little bit the bottom end too, so our brake pads are always wearing even, and most importantly we have full brake. So anyways, I already took one of these apart, and let me show you how it works inside. I took it apart and cleaned it. So that's the casing obviously, but inside what happens is we have these 2 pistons, I would call them, and they sit like that, and that screw that goes there has this cone underneath, and the more you tighten it, the more it opens. It's a good idea every time you change your brake pads to also clean this up, lubricate it, lubricate the threads inside. So the cone has a little bit of flat parts on 4 sides, so when it turns you can almost feel a click. If these are not seized inside, the brake pads are gonna be pushing them in because there's springs on the brake pads, and when you turn this you can almost feel a click, on a click 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 click. So this you tighten from behind the wheel with a 1/4 inch wrench. That's how it works. So let me put it together. To put it together you have to go from underneath. So this goes like that, and you tighten it until it shows on the top. Now we're gonna pull them back all the way, and so we can have more room for the brake pads to be installed, and then we're gonna tighten them slightly when we have the drums in. So of course this goes with the cut part against the cone. This goes with the flat part against the cone. Now because I just cleaned them, they're loose and they might fall out, so we have to be careful. And then we have 2 nuts here. We should have also lock washers. So this is where it goes. Lock washers and nuts go behind. And now, like I said, we retracted the cone as far back as possible. So these are pushed in all the way. You can actually see them here. Let me show you. You can actually see here where they meet. So now they're basically touching each other. So that's all the way, and that's so we can mount the brake shoes easily. And then we're gonna adjust them once we have everything assembled. All right, so now we can take those keepers, and this is how this one goes from behind. Then the brake shoe goes there. It needs to fit inside this slot of the cylinder, and this turns, the piston turns, so make sure it is in the right orientation, vertical. Then it goes like this, and like this. Here the bottom needs to fit right inside our little adjuster that we just fixed, and then this spring goes and locks it. So now these springs, I don't know if they have orientation, but I try always to put them from up down so they don't fall out. Like, I don't know if they are able to fall out, but I'm trying to keep them in this orientation. Now here we have springs, a long one and a short one, a long one and a short one, Eileen, a long one and a short one, and they go from behind. So this, we said, is gonna come this way with the hole above the notch, and that's how the spring goes, from behind supposedly. And that's the tricky part. I'll try to put it this way first. Okay. You know what? We're not gonna mount this yet. That's gonna give us a little bit more room to move. We're gonna put these at the end. This way I can mount my spring here. And now put it where it belongs. Okay. Now I can pull this. There you go. So the bottom one is in, and that was the easier part. And now we can start fighting with the top one, which again goes from behind. Alright guys, this doesn't go very smooth, and I'm gonna save you the struggle here. I'm just gonna show you this side assembled, and then we're gonna move on to the next one, where I already had an idea of what should be done before and after what the easiest way to assemble the brakes is. Every time after I'm done with the brakes, I have a very clear idea of what the easiest way is, but by the time I do TR6 brakes again a year later, all this is gone from my head. So always I have to do one wheel and remember, let's say, how to do it, and then the second wheel goes much smoother. So I'm gonna show you the other side later, and I hope that's gonna make much more sense. This here is a mess. So we're not gonna do the adjusting for now. We're gonna do all this adjustment when we bleed the brakes of the bottom. For now, the brake drum can go in and out easily, and that's it. The top spring is here on these holes. The bottom spring is installed on these two holes, and make sure that everything is in the slots, because sometimes it's sitting on top on the outside edge, and that's it. Okay, oh well, we are forgetting the little keepers. So looks like they go at the end. So at this point is when you realize that you have one of the brake shoes flipped upside down and your hose don't match. No, just kidding you. So don't make a mistake. And there you go. Okay, I forgot something very important, which is to put grease in these cylinders here and on the threads of the plunger from the back, like they tend to get really seized. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to lift one brake shoe at a time and pull one cylinder out at a time, and hopefully I will be able to shove some grease inside and then put some grease on the threads behind, and that's it. I should have done that earlier. Come on. Come out, wherever you are. There you go. Okay. And now the other one. Right, so we are on the other side, and because it didn't go very smooth on the first, I'm gonna try to do it here a little bit more seamless for you so you can understand. So the wheel cylinder is installed. This time I didn't forget the lever. Everything in the back is done, but you know how to do that. The little adjuster is installed as well, and now we can install this spring. So this one, like we said, is you can't mix it up. The other one, we need to be careful. Now it's on the other side. The hole needs to be higher than the notch, so that's how it goes. And then we can install our other spring here, and here I believe we have to start with the bottom spring first, goes behind the flange. So you see here the spring is behind the flange already, and this one now has to go behind the flange. That's the tricky part. But if we push it, this spring has no springy part in the middle, so it can go easily between the flange and the wheel cylinder. And okay, now it's in, and now we can put one shoe up. This one is gonna be harder, but no, not really. Okay, it went in. So the two top parts are where they go, like this, and now only the bottom. Now here the spring needs to go between the adjuster and the flange, and that's hard. So maybe it's a good idea to install all this before you have the axle, because that's also an option. But anyways, if you have the axle in already and you're working only on the brakes, it still works. You see the spring now, I don't know if you can see it from there, but it is here trapped between the flange and the... So it's gonna pop at some point, I guess. Try and tap it in. There you go. So we just gave it a little push. And now we can pop this on the adjuster too. And there you go, that's it. So that's a little bit smoother. I hope I remember this procedure for the next time, because by the time I work on a TR6 brakes again, probably I'm gonna forget again. Okay, and at the end we just tap them up and down to make sure that they slide into the slots here of the adjuster and the cylinder. This means that they are right where they belong, and then when we put the drum, it's gonna adjust itself. They're gonna go up and down and gonna adjust themselves, and then we only need to bleed the brakes and adjust the adjuster. All right. I told you, much smoother, right? Anyway, so this video becomes too long, so we're gonna cut it here and we're gonna continue with the rest of our brake lines installing and everything in the next one. So thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more videos from the Rusty Beauty shop.